What you are looking at on this video now is a Chinese vessel to collect bauxite in Guinea. One vessel will deliver enough bauxite that will generate over $100 million. I would like to talk about bauxite. It's a compound.
Guinea is some of the world's largest reserves of bauxite, and now the race is on to exploit more of it.
The Chinese could have produced aluminum in Guinea, but they will not do it. So if you know Ibrahim Traore, go and tell him he spends the next 20 years in Burkina Faso doing what he's doing. Without getting into industrial manufacturing, he's wasting his time. Peter Obi was in Anambra State for 8 years. He did not steal one kobo. He did some roads, some hospitals and all that. Then he left a lot of money for the next governor to come and carry. Good. He's prudent. He's not wasteful. But he didn't bring any development to Anambra. The Chinese factories that are working today in Nigeria, go there, go and visit them. They are lazy people. Nigerians are the workhorse. People that are rich. I don't want to question how they got their money. They are hiding everything in Europe, in America. Their children are driving sports cars there. Sorry for them. Sorry for you. Sorry for you. If you want to understand how to industrialize our country, look at how the Chinese are doing it. The model they are following. Let us copy them. Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Caesar Osahene Iyayi. I'm your advocate for the industrial development, industrial manufacturing of the African continent, a process that I believe should begin from Nigeria. One of the things I want to talk about, which I mentioned in my last podcast, is that I would like to talk about bauxite. Bauxite is a compound, and it is the foundation of aluminum.
Guinea is some of the world's largest reserves of bauxite, and now the race is on to exploit more of it. Despite the country's military coup and risks of economic isolation, supplies haven't been disrupted, and more is expected to be mined this year than last. In 2020, this West African country exported more than 64 million metric tons of the mineral, second only to Australia. Analysts say Guinea should focus more on processing the ore locally than exporting it. Guinea accounts for 24% of global bauxite supplies, and it's focused on one thing: maximizing revenues from the current windfall. But as some analysts point out, there is no guarantee the price of the mineral will go on rising.
It is available on our continent. It's even available, from my understanding, also in Nigeria. But it is possible that the bauxite content that we have in Nigeria may not be of industrial capacity at the moment. That is to say, the content of aluminum in the bauxite may not be high to the international standard. Just like I mentioned to you that we have aluminum, we have iron in Itakpe, in Kogi State, but that iron content is only 33%. So that may be similar to what is happening to bauxite that is available in Nigeria. The good news is that we don't have to move outside the African continent. Right in Guinea, because only about 7 or 8 countries that have bauxite in commercial quantity, and Guinea is at the forefront. Guinea, when you look at the map of Africa, focuses on West Africa. You see that Guinea is on the western part of Africa, the very edge. If you do the trajectory, it's not more than 3,000 kilometers from the shores of Nigeria in the Niger Delta, whether it is Ondo State, whether it's Delta State, whether it's Bayelsa, whether it is Rivers, Calabar, as the case may be. What is the point I'm making? The point that I'm making is that you can get bauxite from Guinea by ship, just like what you will see on the video. What you are looking at on this video now is a Chinese vessel that came from China to collect bauxite in Guinea. It's collecting so much quantity that one vessel will deliver enough bauxite that will generate over $100 million when converted to aluminum in China. And that is when you talk about aluminum as an ingot.
This pile of mud is everywhere in Africa, but when shipped to China, it turns into gold. A bulk carrier weighing 210,000 tons is fully loaded. To fill it, the cargo bucket needs to scoop 4,000 times. Can you guess how much money this load of mud can make? Africa's port facilities are quite outdated, so loading is usually done at an anchor point far from the shore, requiring various transfer ships to carry the cargo. Why not just refine aluminum directly in Africa? The reason is that aluminum ore contains gallium and germanium, which can't be refined with the equipment available in Africa. If such refining facilities and power stations were built there, they could easily be illegally seized by the local government.
By the time you take the same aluminum and convert it to aluminum roofing sheets, the value goes up. If you take the aluminum and convert it into aluminum window material, the value goes up even higher. As roofing sheets, it goes even higher. So why are the Chinese doing this? The Chinese could have produced aluminum in Guinea, but they will not do it because if they were to do that, they will be assisting the people of Guinea to develop their economy, to industrialize their country. They don't want that. What they want is to take that bauxite to China and create industries, create jobs, produce the aluminum. They can ship it to you in form of aluminum roofing sheets, aluminum coil. They can ship it to you as electric cars. It is the stuff that aeroplanes are made of. Why is that relevant to Nigeria? Everybody in Nigeria is focusing on oil. If it's not oil, okay, how do we liquefy our natural gas? So we now call it LNG, liquefied natural gas. Put it on the ship and send it to Japan. And the Japanese will now use it to produce electricity in Japan and use that same electricity to manufacture all the vehicles and all the machineries, all the tractors, all the aeroplanes that they will ship to Africa. Margaret Thatcher, former British Prime Minister, she was making some comments. She said Russia has all the raw materials you can imagine, more than any country by far. But they are only $2 trillion economy because they focus only on commodities and nuclear weapons and weapons of violence. They have the technology. What is missing in Russia is leadership. We in Nigeria do not have the technology, but what I'm saying is this. We're already exporting oil. Thank God Dangote is now refining, because in the refinery process, when you fractionate oil, you are able to get multiple products. For example, you get petroleum gas, which we now call LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, that we use to cook our food at home. After that, you have maybe aviation fuel with paraffin, you have petrol, you have diesel, and then after that, you are going to have the oil that we use for our engines, and thereafter, you might end up having bitumen. In our industry, we call it 60-70, that we use to do our roads, our tar roads. Unfortunately, I am in the construction industry. We import 95% of our bitumen. So expensive. So I thank God for Dangote that he was able to bring a refinery here. What I am saying is that government should encourage entrepreneurs, Nigerian entrepreneurs, to double down, apart from refinery, to go into industrial manufacturing, because we have the gas, natural gas, #1 in Africa, #9 in the whole world. We are sitting on it, and we are not making good use of it. Government should come in, not to own the industries, but to encourage, just the way the Chinese are encouraging their entrepreneurs to establish industries everywhere in China and now in Africa. They are everywhere now in Nigeria, but their focus is on intermediate goods. They do not want to produce anything like cars. They want to assemble cars in Nigeria. Innocent Motors is already assembling cars. That is why when people talk about our young man, Ibrahim Traore, everybody is praising him. Yes, it is good to praise him, but the direction is wrong. Because what he's doing now at the moment is importing parts to produce electric vehicles. He wants to do so many thousand kilometers of road. They are all good projects. But until you get into industrial manufacturing, you are not making any progress whatsoever. Look at Dubai. You go to Dubai, you see skyscrapers. Go to Saudi Arabia, you see skyscrapers. Go to UAE, you see skyscrapers. All those buildings, all the material that are used to produce those things, were they made in Dubai or in Saudi Arabia or Qatar? Nothing. Zero. I don't count them as countries that are doing well. They are not. So if you know Ibrahim Traore, go and tell him, if he spends the next 20 years in Burkina Faso doing what he's doing, without getting into industrial manufacturing, he's wasting his time. He will end up like Peter Obi. Peter Obi was in Anambra State for 8 years. He did not steal one kobo. He was there. He did some roads, some hospitals and all that. Then he left a lot of money for the next governor to come and carry. Good. He's prudent. He's not wasteful. But he didn't bring any development to Anambra, despite the fact that he had integrity. But integrity without industrialization is zero. Zero. If he had concentrated his energy on manufacturing products to start manufacturing process in Anambra, by the time he left, maybe you have maybe about 10, 15, 20 products that used to be imported into Nigeria that are now made in Anambra. He would have left an indelible mark in the history of Nigeria. So there are people that have the zeal, the energy. There are people that are not interested in stealing the money of Nigeria, but their focus is wrong, completely wrong. Because until you start manufacturing things from the elements, you are not a country yet. You have to import everything so you can build a road. You have to import all the machinery so you can farm. You have to import all the things that you are consuming. You have to import all your medications. You are not helping your country. As a matter of fact, let me shock you. It is better for you to have a leader that is embezzling 10% of the money or 20% of the money and investing heavily in industrial manufacturing, because the benefit that will come from producing what we consume will be so huge that whatever the politicians are able to steal will be irrelevant. But do all you can to say government house is not a restaurant. It's nice to hear. But after you finish saying that, what have you contributed in terms of manufacturing? Innocent Motors was with you there. Did you encourage him to start manufacturing things in Nigeria? Don't you know that vehicles can be manufactured in Nigeria? Who told you it cannot be manufactured in Nigeria? Look at Trump. Trump is saying all the manufacturing centers must be returned to America. And the companies that are doing it, mark my words, they are starting their own independent power source. They are not going to rely on the national grid of America, whether it is Apple, whether it is Samsung, whichever companies that have decided to invest. I don't know how many billions so far they have agreed to invest in America because of the effort of Trump. All these factories say they are going to have their independent power source. That is what we are talking about here now. To have an independent power source that is completely independent from our Nigeria national grid. Stop complaining that national grid is unreliable. We have gas. If government is on the side of entrepreneurs, they can bring in plants that can generate power. Right where that power is generated, you manufacture things there. So I talk about bauxite. If Chinese can go to Guinea and take bauxite, one vessel, when it gets to China, from that bauxite, they make aluminum worth $100 million. Imagine if you have multiple companies doing that. When you look at it, it will come to a point, because Nigerians are so intelligent. The moment they see that it is possible, everybody runs into it. Within a short spell, you will see that Nigeria will now be a huge manufacturer of aluminum. From there, you can start thinking of all the other byproducts that can come from aluminum. Talk of electric cars. What's electric car? It's aluminum. Some of the engines in our vehicles now are aluminum. Radiators, they are aluminum. Your roofing sheets are aluminum. There are many products. I decided to just pick one now, just bauxite. And do you know something else? When you produce bauxite, aluminum from bauxite because you have to move from stage to stage. The first stage is to produce aluminum oxide. During that process, as a byproduct, when you add sodium hydroxide to bauxite, the reaction, after you remove the aluminum, you will now have ceramic. That is what you use to make our toilets, our sink, and the spark plug you have in our vehicles. So you see, your intention is to make aluminum, but the industrial process is so interesting that as you are making one product, another byproduct will come up. Just like when I talk about refining crude oil, your intention is to produce maybe petrol and diesel, but in the end, you produce gas, you produce paraffin. In the end, you produce plastic. In the process, you produce bitumen that you use to make roads, produce engine oil. So you see, from one compound, you now make multiple products that are useful to human beings, that we are importing every day. So look at it. We sit down here and we are complaining every day. The Chinese are coming here to take our raw material and send overseas and then send it back to us. The Chinese factories that are working today in Nigeria, go there, go and visit them. They are lazy people, very lazy. You go to their factories, by 7 a.m. they will work. When it's 12, the Chinese will go home. They go and rest for 3 hours. Nigerians will be working. They'll come back by 3 o'clock, by 5, they'll close. Nigerians will be working again, 24 hours. Nigerians are the workhorse. All we need is a direction. Government, please give us the direction. Give entrepreneurs the necessary assistance, the enabling environment. I wanted to convert the generator in my factories to natural gas. Because there's no pipeline passing through my factory, I have to first of all use what you call compressed natural gas. You know what they told me? They said, oh, I'm sorry. If you want to buy CNG and put in your car, it's 230 naira. If you want to use it for industrial purpose, it's 650 naira. So when I did the math, I did the calculation how much it would cost me to buy a generator. Over $1 million for the CNG generator. Then you have what they call the tubes that will bring in the gas in a big cylinder. Each one is 200 million naira. And you need at least 4. I said, forget about it. Why should the government make the gas that is coming out from the ground by the force of nature? Why should government now make it so expensive for people to use in industry? They forget that if you allow people to use it in the industry, you manufacture this, you employ people, you pay tax, people will pay tax, people will be employed, you produce goods that can either be consumed here or exported. It's an advantage for the country. But people don't understand that. They start looking at commodity, the value of the commodity. How much are we going to make? If we can just increase this price down to 700, we make more money. No, you are not. You are discouraging investment in industry. You are supposed to make the cost of energy in the industry cheaper than for domestic. China makes the cost of energy or electricity almost zero for their industry to be able to produce and export. They know that when their factories are working, people are working. They are earning money. And when they export, they are earning money. They know that the price of the commodity is irrelevant compared to the price of the finished product. Why can't we learn that? People say so. If you get lost in the bush, eat what the monkeys eat, and you survive. If we want to understand how to industrialize our country, look at how the Chinese are doing it, how they started, the model they are following. Let us copy them. Chinese vehicles are bad. I bought a whole Chinese truck. It can take 45 tons, 12 tires, and go through mud. Inside that vehicle is a stir diesel engine, made in Austria. But everything else is made in China. They are intelligent. They are sitting here doing nothing. People that are rich, I don't want to question how they got their money. They are hiding everything in Europe, in America. Their children are driving sports cars there. Sorry for them. Sorry for you. Sorry for you. There's still continuity in your family line. Your children will end up living in America and in Europe forever. They will never come back here. They will only come back to bury you and sell whatever property you have and go back and waste it in Europe. Sorry for you. Those that are intelligent are investing here in Nigeria. And people think they are clever. They find a way to get our money and send them out and carry their children along with them. We want our children to have good education, good life. Bye-bye. All we are saying, give Nigerians the opportunity to survive. Let us survive by creating industries, by manufacturing things here. It's when we start manufacturing finished products made in Nigeria by Nigerians, you see us start making progress. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Cesar Osahene Yayi. I remain your advocate for the industrialization of Africa, beginning here in Nigeria. See you next time. Bye-bye. What you are looking at on this video now is a Chinese vessel to collect bauxite in Guinea. One vessel will deliver enough bauxite that will generate over $100 million. I would like to talk about bauxite. It's a compound.
Guinea is some of the world's largest reserves of bauxite, and now the race is on to exploit more of it.
The Chinese could have produced aluminum in Guinea, but they will not do it. So if you know Ibrahim Traore, go and tell him if he spends the next 20 years in Burkina Faso doing what he's doing, without getting into industrial manufacturing, he's wasting his time. Peter Obi was in Anambra State for 8 years. He did not steal one kobo. He did some roads, some hospitals and all that. Then he left a lot of money for the next governor to come and carry. Good. He's prudent. He's not wasteful. But he didn't bring any development to Anambra. The Chinese factories that are working today in Nigeria, go there, go and visit them. They are lazy people. Nigerians are the workhorse. People that are rich. I don't want to question how they got their money. They are hiding everything in Europe, in America. Their children are driving sports cars there. Sorry for them. Sorry for you. Sorry for you. If you want to understand how to industrialize our country, look at how the Chinese are doing it. The model they are following. Let us copy them.